All right, we want to move into a cutting segment now. And what I wanted to do, guys, is I just wanted to step out and outframe a little bit and let Adina, Hugo, and Brayden have the stage because they've so rightly earned the right. But most importantly, in front of you right now are three very talented people that work at our Redken Exchange. They work their way up through the Redken ranks of artists. And I want to go to Adina Das first because Adina is our curly hair expert. She has natural curls, you can see, but we're really going to start to see a natural movement in curly hair. Adina, what are you going to be doing there, my dear?
Well, right now I'm setting her up with her leave-in treatment. That's the new Curvaceous CCC spray. So every regimen within the Redken line has something to add to the hair in a treatment that allows for combability. So the CCC spray is setting her up for her curly hair, and as I start to work through her curly hair, I'm allowing that product to sit in her hair and start to layer on. Again, building that fabric and getting it to do what you want. The CCC spray is setting it up for moisture. It is also giving it that combability. What's going to happen is when we're looking at natural texture, sometimes when we look at clients and we go in and we're going to cut hair, we think that we have to cut everything. What we're going to see with Angelina is that I'm just going to do some detail work within the shape that already exists. We're not cutting too much of her length, and we're going to start to reveal. You can see how heavy her hair is. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to start to release some of that weight with the technique that I'm going to use. Releasing some weight, starting to create some movement and some shape so she doesn't end up with either that triangle or the inverted triangle where it's too heavy on top. What the technique that I'm going to do is going to create an element of softness throughout her hair so it kind of lays a little bit closer to her head.
Adina, I noticed you're cutting this wet.
I am cutting it wet.
You talked about CC spray. Are there any times when you cut natural curly hair dry?
Yeah, it just depends on a mood, I think. I think that what I like to do with curly hair is I like to start with the hair in a wet state and allow for its natural texture to shine through. So as I'm working, you'll see that I won't resaturate hair with water. I'll just let that texture show through and allow the texture to reveal itself as I'm working.
Brayden, I noticed that you're cutting dry over here. What's going to be happening here?
Absolutely. So, you know, for a very long time, we've been cutting hair. We'll go in and we'll flat iron it, get it super, super duper straight, and then we cut this perfect line. And she recreates it every day, right? So what we want to do is we want to put a natural kind of lived in, she likes her hair beachy. Believe it or not, this hair is one length. Through the next 2 days, she's going to allow me to cut it to her shoulders. So what we want to do is we want to work vertically. What we want to do is, you got that long hair client that comes in and says, what? Do whatever you want, but don't cut the length. So question, the lower you hold it, what's that do with the line? Hard or soft? Hard. The higher I lift it, the what? Soft or beautiful. Going to take a piece right here at the high point. Lay it, we're going to take it right to the ear level. Pick that guy up, put a little mustard on him. Yes, we are going to cut the layers that short, and I guarantee you that we will not cut this perimeter. Check it out. Show you the first section. We'll continue on and see what our friends are doing. We're going to elevate the hair straight up into swelling graduation. The hair must be elevated straight up. It must wrap and lay on top of the head. The guide sits here. Simply going to come in from the underneath,
That way or that way?
and I'm going to bite and slide, just like a so.
What I love about that, yes, give it up for Brayden on that, please. What I love about that, Brayden, is how you're able to maintain that length, because I think a lot of times you get these clients that come in with this length, keep my length, and then they say they want some layers. A great way to go in and layer this. And then the other thing, that comment that you made there, I think a lot of times you get somebody that might come in and say, do whatever you want. You ever had that happen? Right?
Yeah.
And you ever have that happen and you're like, oh, great, I'm running behind. Now what do I do? And you run back behind the break room. It's like, okay, I got one. Now what do I do, guys? But we're going to come back to Brayden and check that. But continue to watch and take your eyes where you want to take them in terms of what's happening with these particular shapes. Hugo, let's go to you, my friend. I noticed that you're going in and you're starting underneath and you're layering underneath. Let's talk about what you're doing there.
Yeah, so what we want to do with Jackie, she's got a ton of hair, and we want to really start to get a really beautiful shape inside that. And so what we did is we separated the hair, we isolated the hair horizontally at the top of the ear. And what we did is we took a section, what we wanted to do is we wanted to keep the length. So instead of taking all the hairline up into the section that we're cutting, we just did a smiley face section that basically mimics the hairline. And then we brought the hair vertically up and cut that hair. Now, what we looked for is just creating that bit of a release on the interior. Now what we're doing as we're working through the next section, we took the section that would split, that horseshoe section that would isolate the back and sides, we split from the ears back, we split that horizontal section one more time because of the amount of hair, the density in the hair. So again, we're gonna repeat that process, and I'm just gonna go ahead and now take a section to create a channel. For control, I'm gonna take from the center back and just work my way towards the left ear here. And again, I'm just gonna take a section and pull the hair, and elevate the hair up. Now, this is not a traditional guide, Sam. I'll repeat myself. This is not a traditional guide. So what we do underneath, we will not blend in to the top. So, consultation's key here, talking to my guest about the amount of hair and then removing, being able to get a beautiful shape while keeping the length. And again, now the idea here is if I wanna know where the bottom of that section is gonna hit, I take a pinch and I just keep pinching that. Now I know where the bottom of that section is gonna land. Now, and then by doing that, I can also see where the top of the section is gonna land. In this case, these will be independently cut from each other. So the idea is you could use your visual perception as one way to do it. The other part is you can actually measure. So I'm gonna go just beyond where we've cut that and detach the hair. You'll notice my finger position will be just the same as the section, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that blunt. Now, because I've elevated the hair vertically, I know that, principally speaking, that when I release this hair, even if it's a horizontal line, because of the degree of elevation, you'll notice that when we release the hair, you don't see any demarcation in the shape. So again, going creative as far as getting the weight out without doing lots of texturizing, yet using the elevation in this case to get that softness in the shape.
Love what you're doing there, Hugo, because you just said I'm not doing it, using a lot of texturizing to create this. You're using your degree of elevation, the fact that you're detaching each horizontal section that you elevate vertically. One of the things that we believe at Redken that's happening right now is we're taking undercuts and underlayers and we're turning them upside down, and we're getting back into this whole shag effect. The haircut is back, my friends. The haircut is back. You will start to see, yes, you will start to see more clients than ever start to layer their hair. They're gonna start to do that. They're gonna start to come in. You're gonna start to see degrees of shortness up in the crown area. And you're gonna start to see that happen. And then naturally what's gonna happen, it's gonna move to a natural common tendency of natural curl. Hugo, what product did you work to prep that with?
So what we use on this is we used the Satinware 02 just to get that hair really nice and silky for a dry cut. Then what we also use is a little braided, actually, just to go over the surface, again, buffering the hair, protecting the hair from the surface or any friction-based technique on the hair.
Love the fact the way you're using braid aid. Once again, braid aid to cover those elastics and buffer the cuticle, but then once again, Hugo's taking it away from the braid world and using it in his design world as a finishing product to set up his dry cutting. All right, Adina, I notice you're working up into the top area now.
Right now I'm working up at the top area. I started in the front and created her fringe. We based the entire shaping within the interior of her hair based off of how short she wanted the framing around her face. We went in, we cut out, we created the shape that we were looking for, and now what I'm doing is I'm just gonna take 2 triangle sections in that crown area. I'm gonna create what we call swelling graduation. I'm elevating the hair and wrapping it and laying it on the head. I have taken a piece from where everything meets as a guide. Then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna cut from short to long, just opening and closing my shears as I move down and into the lengths. What's gonna happen here is it's working short to long, so all we're doing is releasing a little bit of weight that sits up on the top, so when this comes back down into its natural falling position, we've got a release of that weight. It's gonna be an element of softness. She's still gonna have fullness within her natural texture, and I'm not cutting too much of the interior out of her curly hair.
Beautiful. For some of you that don't understand the language of Redken, swelling is just simple type of graduation that we work with. So we really invite you to come to the Redken Exchange. You're going to have an opportunity to see at 1:30 Adina Dawson, Brayden Pelletier at the Redken Exchange booth there for the Redken Exchange experience. And once again, this is all hands on. So it's all hands-on, meaning there's mannequins for you. We have the tools for you. All you need to do is show up, stand by a mannequin, and Adina and Brayden will be taking you through a cut and know why class, give you a small taste of what that class is like. Brayden, what's happening?
Absolutely. So we're moving to the front. How many of us go in and we cut a side part on long hair? We do our little matchy-matchy. We make it perfect. We cut it. We dry it, and it sits like this. Right? And she comes in, I love this side, but this side doesn't do anything. Check this out. The second you cut past center, you have to cut asymmetry to make it look symmetrical. Meaning, if we take these front pieces and we visually balance where they sit, if we come back to the front and measure, they're different lengths. So again, first thing we want to do is go in and add and create a visual guide. Now here's the cool part. Would you agree there's less hair over here?
Yes.
We call it the scary area. Why? Well, today's Sunday and we could cut a hole and it would be okay. But on Monday, holy shapes usually aren't the best. So check this out. However far past center I am, is how far past center I over-direct the weak side to compensate for the missing weight and length. Again, however far past center I am is how far I over-direct the weak side to compensate for the weight and length. Guides are established. Gonna drop our corners. We're literally going to go back into our elevation. 45 above, no over direction on our front piece, and we're simply going to back cut and work short to long so that we don't cut the length.
Love how Brayden works in terms of being able to work. It's his degree of elevation that's giving us softness. At the REDKEN Exchange, we talk about those three movements: elevation, over direction, and finger angle, how you're able to simplify your work and be able to duplicate something that you might see in a magazine, because we all know that pictures are the best means of communication. Hugo, where are you at? I see you're on the top area now.
Yep. So what we've done is we continue the technique underneath the back and sides. We've clipped that hair to control it. On dry cutting, you want to make sure that you isolate the hair that you've cut so you don't pick it up again and cut it. Now what we've done is we've taken a section, think about just four quadrants, and what we've done is we've taken, we'll call this A in the right back quadrant, B in the left back quadrant, and then C in the right front, and then D. Now with A, all we're going to do first is visually, because again, we're not working traditional, Sam.
Right.
We're actually going visual here. So what I want to do is look at where the degree of shortness in the top layer is going to be, and then what I'm going to do is just bring that hair over the top, the high point of the head, the apex, and I'm going to take that section now and just bring it over into scooping graduation, sorry. Again, my finger position is parallel to the section, and all I'm going to do at this point now is just use gravity in this case. Where are we at?
Straight, we've got one
Okay.
camera.
All right, good.
There you go.
Okay, good. I'll use gravity in this case, see? Rather than fighting the hair coming down, I want to point cut. So I'll use gravity, and all I'm just going to use is the guiding blade, come in, and then as I go through, just peel away, go one way, and then come back the opposite way, just like this. And the idea with point cutting, ladies and gentlemen, is what you want to see is, think about that little sushi fence. That's what you want to see. A lot of times when we point cut, we munch it down like if we are cutting it blunt. You might as well cut it blunt and then texturize it after. Now, that A section, what you're going to do is the top of that becomes your guide now for section B. If you're with me, give me a hey, hey.
Hey, hey.
All right, good job. So now we're going to take that over. Notice my body position, Sam. I change over to the opposite side. Now I continue moving over. I'm going to have the comb in front of the section and simply just plow. When I plow through, bingo. Can you all see the guide, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, when you see the guide, when that guide comes out, guess what? Time to play. Just turn back around and then continue with the same technique.
Love how you're using the comb to see the guide underneath, and you're not trying to see the guide through, because you're actually compressing the section and cutting it all at once. Hugo, when you're at the REDKEN Exchange, what's the class that you teach at the REDKEN Exchange?
I teach a class called Design Mastery and a class called Cut and OY2. And,
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, now we're going to be able to see you tomorrow at the Exchange Experience, correct?
That's right.
All right, so we're looking forward to that. Who are you paired up with at the
I'm paired
Redken
up
Exchange?
with, I have the fine pleasure of working with one of my great mentors, Teresa Mockler.
Awesome. And Teresa, as we all know, is awesome with that razor. So once again,
amazing.
Redken Exchange. At 2:30, you'll have an opportunity to see myself and Justin Isaac doing a demonstration like we do demonstrations at the Redken Exchange. So make sure you come to the Redken booth. At 3:30, you'll see Color and Know Why with George Garcia and Lori Zabel. And then at 4:30, you have Justin Isaac, and he'll take you through a Color and Know Why class. And then at 5:30, it'll be Teresa Mockler. All right, Adina, you're blow drying. Let's start to wrap these cuts up, and you're blow drying that.
I'm blow drying it, and what I'm doing is I'm allowing for her natural texture to reveal itself. And how we've done that is we set it up with the, thank you, the Wave Aid. It's another part of the volumizing, of the 2 volumizing lines that we just launched. This is Beach Envy. The Wave Aid is a treatment styler. It does not have, it's a beach spray, but it doesn't have salt in it. So it has ingredients that help plump up the hair and add volume. And what you're seeing me do is work the hair in its natural texture, but I'm still pulling on it. What happens is we went in and we started at the base. We started pulling on her hair. Again, sharing this information with your guest. Tell them to work the base and then telling them to twist the hair and pull on it, because you're still allowing for an element of control to happen within the hair instead of just whipping it around wildly. So what this is doing is it's promoting more texture within her hair, and she just gets to play and have something a lot more natural in the end result.
At Redken, we believe product is not an option, it is a necessity. Brayden, here's what I love about the Brayden. What Brayden did was he had a set in this. Did you notice it came out with a set? Did you notice it had this wavy, beachy kind of set? How cool is it, guys, to think about that, and you set the client's hair, and then you go and cut with the set, so that you can just start to see these layers, because it's almost like an ombre. Ombres and all of these color techniques that you guys are doing, they look good when they've got some wave and some movement in them. Love how you were able to maintain that length and put some layers in there and give it just a little bit of punch. Put some recap on that, Brian.
Yeah,
Brayden.
Absolutely. So again, when you think about it, it's creating an emotion in hair. All too often we find ourselves stuck in a rut, cutting it the same way. But if I want it to be beachy and airy, then the approach has to be beachy and airy. Still principally based, still with your foundation, but by working off the shortest piece at the high point of the head, we're simply elevating up, wrapping and laying on top of the head, and working short to long. The trick is, the end of that section is your what? Length. And guess what? The end, when you pick that guy up, don't cut it. Accidental alopecia will occur, right? So it's being very aware. All we're doing is pivoting in the natural fall. So you can see the degree of shortness, but notice how much density still lives on the side. And again, working on side part balance, you can see asymmetry, but notice the graduation as it sits around her face. It now sits balanced. Not everything has to match. It just has to go together.
Love that, balance and function. All right, guys, here we go. Let's put a recap on this. Stand these girls up. Come on, show some love for Brayden Pelletier, Adina Doss, and Hugo Urias.
When we go in and we cut hair, it's not always about cutting everything off. It's about how much we leave behind. With her, we went in with Angelina, we went in and we only created about 4 sections to release some of the weight and add some of her natural texture, and setting her up so that she knows how to do her hair at home. And in the end result, she's got a very natural, beachy look.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Adina. Brayden Pelletier.
All right, so you know, with Jacqueline, again, you can see she's got
Hugo.
a ton of hair. I know, right? She's got a ton of hair, but check it out. When she turns to the side, you can see that she's got all this dimension in the haircut. And again, you know, I think for us, long haircuts, we always are looking for different ways to make them exciting. What I love about this is, for her type of hair, it really gives her a lot of texture without too much work. So without any further ado, please give it up for the beautiful Jacqueline.
Woo! Thank you, Hugo. Brayden.
Awesome. Again, just think about it. It's about creating the emotion inside the hair, working on the principles to create movement and give a sense of life to your creation. If it's meant to be wavy and messy and beachy, don't cut it like this, right? Cut it to be messy and wavy and beachy, being very aware of the principles. Shake that head for them one time so they see it. Make the hair dance. Again, your applause is not for us, it's for these beautiful models.
Show some love, Orlando! Okay, up.